Please rise for pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just a quick note before we start, Terry Harmon is joining us virtually. Hi, Terry.
Hi, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. First item on the agenda is to recognize McCloskey and Faber, our PC landscape architect and planner, for his 44 years of service.
So as council is aware, the end of last year ended a era for Horsham Township for landscape architect services. To the best of my knowledge, probably the first landscape architect for Horsham Township, Jim Faber, who's sitting in the back, and his wife Karen, and senior project manager Kim Flanders, which we all know very well. And Jim decided the end of last year to retire and close up his business and travel. So, but we wanted to thank Jim. You know, there's not many consultants you have on board for 44 years. Actually, him and Hewitt Mikulski started 2 years before they even formed their company, Mikulski and Faber. So, Township Council in 1978 asked them to draw up and create the first landscape ordinance for Horsham Township. And it was 2 years after that, in 1980, where they formed their professional company and office, Mikulski and Faber. And since then, Jim and his staff and Kim for 24 years have watched over Horsham doing land development application reviews. They've watched over us when we've revised and updated our subdivision and land development ordinance. They've watched over us when we updated our zoning ordinance. And they've really helped us tremendously over the last 44 years. And aside from all that I mentioned about ordinances and landscaping, Jim was always there too when you asked for a donation for Horsham Day. If our Rotary Club asked him for a donation for their golf tournament or for him to participate in our golf tournament, the Horsham Chamber of Commerce, same thing. If they reached out to him as a township consultant for a donation, always gave. Always made a donation. Sometimes golf too. But you know, he was always a big part of our organization over the last 44 years, and a very good consultant and a good friend of Horsham Townships. And we wanted to take some time this evening just to say thank you, Jim. Thank you for 44 years. Thank you, Kim, for 24 years. Your firm did a fantastic job for us, and we appreciate that.
So, you know, on behalf of council, I'd like to thank you as well. It's people like yourselves make our job a lot easier. As you know, we have many plans that come before us, and we rely on people like yourself and staff to, you know, make recommendations, and we trust that those recommendations will be accurate, thoughtful, and with a lot of good things in mind. And over the years, you've certainly done that. And you know, we can't thank you enough. It's hard to replace some people. It really is. And in this world, it's getting tougher, you know, because all the big companies are taking over the small companies, and it just becomes harder and harder. But for you, it's been a great ride, and we certainly do appreciate the work you've done for us and just making our lives a lot easier. So thank you both. We do have a proclamation, though, I'd like to read. So in 1978, Township Council hired James Faber and Hewitt McCloskey to write Horsham's first landscape ordinance. 2 years later, James and Hewitt founded McCloskey and Faber, PC, a professional corporation providing landscape architecture and planning services. Since then, they have been involved in every land development application and all revisions and amendments to our subdivision and land development ordinance and zoning ordinance. Comprised of a team of experienced design professionals, McCloskey and Faber have worked closely with elected officials, municipal staff, the township engineer, and project architects to provide landscape design services reflective of the needs of Horsham Township. Horsham Township recognizes McCloskey and Faber PC for their 44 years of landscape architectural services to Horsham Township. We extend our well wishes to James Faber in his upcoming retirement and thank Senior Project Manager Kimberly Flanders for her 24 years of service. Again, thank you both so very much, and good luck to you.
Thank you, and I would like to thank council. It's been a great opportunity for us. We've enjoyed working with both this council and the numerous council people that have come through over the 44 years. It's really been a pleasure. Thank you all.
We wish you well, sir. Good job. You wanna break up?
Congratulations.
Ken?
Sorry, I didn't get a chance to work with you. I wish you the best. Mark, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bill?
Jim, as always, thanks for this. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Take care. Enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Yes, take one step to your right. Okay.
Is this on? I just scared Jim saying I wanted to say something real quick, but the office was in Horsham too for a while, before the building got torn down. But I worked in several municipalities, and it really helps to have the elected officials backing you. I mean, some municipalities, they have a landscape architect consultant, but I feel like they don't really care about landscaping. But Horsham, I've always known from both sides. I used to have plans submitted in Horsham Township before I actually worked for McCluskey and Faber. And I say that, and I tell everyone, drive around Horsham. You can see the value of landscaping and the elected officials and how they back, the understanding that landscaping is important.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Best of luck to you now. Okay, next is an opportunity for questions or comments. Anybody? With that, we have a approval list of checks. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve the list of checks and all funds in the amount of $255,201.94, and further move to authorize payment of same.
I second it.
Been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next is a subdivision land development, our Chick-fil-A here in Horsham.
So you reviewed that at your last meeting. It does have recommended approval from the Township Planning Commission. We do have the resolution for your consideration this evening, and it is ready.
We have a motion.
Move to adopt the resolution as proposed, granting amended final plan approval to the Chick-fil-A Incorporated Land Development Plan, 134 Welsh Road, 18-09-D.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. This is a roll call vote.
Mr. Sharbury, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Harmon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Wade, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Sorry, you just woke us up. Okay, so next is the zoning hearing board applications, the Wild Forks.
You have one this evening. It's a commercial application at 1536 Easton Road, the Wild Forks Food Store, and they are looking to do 2 additional signage on the facade of their building. They're at their limit now of 2 on-premise signs, so if they're granted this variance, they would have 2 additional signs, on-premise signs. And their applicant is here this evening to present their application.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Julie Buns-Freckleson from the law firm of East Vernon Gray on behalf of the applicant, Wild Fork Foods. To my right, joining me this evening is Kevin Longener. He is the store manager at Wild Fork Foods. I know council is very familiar with this property. It's 1536 Easton Road, so it's the southeast corner of Easton Road and County Line Road. And you're familiar with the building that was recently constructed and not so recent any longer. It'll be a year since it was opened, March 9th. It'll be a year that they have been opened. And as Mr. Walker stated, there are 2 signs at the property. There is a building sign that faces Easton Road that says Wild Fork. And then there is a sign at the corner of County Line and Easton Roads. That's a freestanding sign that says, actually, Wild Fork Meat and Seafood Market. That was an existing non-conforming sign, and they just changed the face of it. So that's what's existing there right now. So they're looking for 2 additional building signs at the property. One, as you can see, is the north elevation. That faces County Line Road, and it would state Wild Fork, as you can see there in the photo, in the rendering, and it's 32 square feet and internally illuminated. So basically, it's the same exact sign that's facing Easton Road today. So that's the one additional sign. The second additional sign, and that's where it would be located on that facade, you could see right there, and that will certainly help the travelers along County Line Road identify the building, because you can't identify it right now. The second sign is on the opposite side, which is the southern elevation. That is the elevation that faces Red Lion Diner and the shared access way with Wawa and Red Lion Diner. And that would also say Wild Fork, very similar to the sign you see facing Easton Road. It would be placed over in that location, again, 32 square feet and internally illuminated. Again, helping identify the building for those using that shared driveway access. The signage complies with the square footage. The only variance that's requested is for number of signs on the property.
Have recommendation, Bill?
Neutral with one condition. And it has to do with these 4 propane tanks out here. And if somehow, it just doesn't, aesthetically, it just doesn't look good when you're going eastbound on County Line Road. Can you buffer them somehow with a small fence, with some arborvitaes?
The middle of trying to get rid of those.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the first stages of it.
First stages, what is
So
that?
I just started preliminary talks with the company to kind of remove them, get them either not visible or get them spruced up a little bit.
I don't know what you do to spruce them up except hide them.
I don't know all the information yet, but
But just, maybe it can be, the condition can be worded that, that you work with the township on, it's just, you have a beautiful building, a beautiful property, all the beautiful landscaping, and you had these 4 tanks that are just sitting out there.
What are they used for exactly? Do you know?
they're just our, we just use propane for, what's it called? Drawing a blank. Yeah, refrigeration.
And so the staff is recommending a condition that they either be removed or that a visual buffer be erected to prevent them from being seen from the road?
Yeah, visual buffer to the satisfaction of the township. But if they're going away, they're going away.
Yeah, that's
so.
what I'm trying to find out, if they're going away.
Well, it's
for
an
sure.
either or.
I'm sorry?
It's an either or.
Right, okay.
So we're working with you, but it's just, when we saw them get put out there, where you're just like, oh, it really takes away from the building aesthetics. That's all. That was our only, staff's only comment.
We'll figure
Okay
out a
with that?
way to make it
Well, if
work.
he's already working on it, then it shouldn't be too big a
Yeah.
deal, right? So everybody okay with those conditions? All right, looks like you're good to go.
Thank you very much.
You're very
Appreciate your
welcome.
time this
Thank you.
evening.
I
Good
just
luck.
have one question. I lost my January coupon. Is there a place to get another one?
If you approve that, I'll,
No.
Thank you.
thanks, guys.
All righty. Next item is consider an appointment for the Environmental Advisory Board.
You have one vacant seat on the advisory board that it's usually they're 5-year terms, but the person that, you had a person leave at the end of the year, so you have one vacant seat that has 4 years left on the term.
We have a motion.
I move to appoint Drew T. Yoder to the Environmental Advisory Board for a term ending on December 31st, 2026.
I second the motion.
The moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next is a consideration of a co-applicant agreement for a HOP permit for stormwater facilities at Otto's.
Both of these, the next 2 agenda items are something you've seen before, where development occurs along state-owned highways, And what happens is the developer has to tie into the state-owned stormwater system along the state highway. And a number of years ago, 10 or 12 years ago at this point, the state said that if the municipalities approve development that does that, the municipalities must take responsibility for the maintenance of the stormwater system that connects into their system. Of course, we don't want to do that for a number of reasons. So there's a co-applicant agreement, and you've been doing this for 10 or 12 years now. So the developer signs the co-applicant agreement. They post an escrow that we put in a special restricted fund if they don't maintain the pipes in the future. And then the resolution is what we send to PennDOT for the application.
We have two different motions.
Yes, sir.
I move to authorize the co-applicant agreement for a highway occupancy permit for stormwater facilities as part of the HTER Group LLC 223 Easton Road, Autos, 21-11-D Land Development Plan pending approval of the legal descriptions. I further move to adopt the resolution.
We have to do this in two separate motions. One's a voice vote. So it's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next motion.
Yeah, you can do it.
I move to adopt the resolution as proposed, authorizing the application for a highway occupancy permit for stormwater facilities as part of the HTER Group LLC 233 Easton Road, Autos, 21-11-D Land Development Plan pending approval of the legal descriptions and subject to the execution of the co-applicant agreement.
Second.
That's been moved and second. This one's a roll call vote.
Mr. Shardley, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Harmon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Wade, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next is authorizing a request for proposals for engineering inspection services.
This is for the street lamp project through the Pennsylvania Lifestyle Campus, formerly known as the Pennsylvania Business Campus. As you know, we have a PennDOT multimodal grant of about $1.3 million for the project. Going through the state with their grant, we have to follow by the state guidelines. So we cannot just use our engineering, township engineer to do the inspection during the project. They can put a proposal in, but we just can't select them to do it. We have to go out competitively with RFPs. So this is, and we have to adopt the PennDOT procedures for that. So that's what this is for.
You have a motion.
Move to authorize a request for proposals for engineering inspection services in regards to the Office Park pedestrian street lamp project and further adopt the PennDOT policy and procedure for consultant selection as per Appendix 7A, Publication 93.
Second?
Been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next is a resolution revising our Act 537 for sewage facilities.
This is for Herman Road, and what we've had a couple. The Water and Sewer Authority has had several properties on-site systems fail. So there's 10 properties. There's 10 properties that are included in this project, but we had to revise our Act 537 plan, which is our state-approved sewer facilities plan to include these 10 properties. The state has let our Water and Sewer Authority proceed with the project, so the project has already started, but we have to, one of the conditions of the permit is Township Council has to revise the Act 537 plan to include these 10 properties that are highlighted in the red on Herman Road.
You have a motion.
I move to adopt the resolution as proposed, revising the Township's Act 537 Sewage Facilities Plan to provide service to 10 existing properties on Herman Road.
I second it.
Moved and second. It's a roll call vote.
Mr. Shardley, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Harmon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Wade, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, before we adjourn the meeting, just want to announce that council will be meeting briefly for executive session matters of personnel. No further business on the agenda. Meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone.